see each other again, Lizzie, you know.
I know. Just being a bit of a sook.
Look, here's a couple of numbers I think you should have. One's for the Senior Citizens Community Centre, and the other one's for Myra Desmond, you know, from the Prison Reform Group. Now, you ring her if you need anything.
Yeah.
Well, I propose that we put in a final demand to have the new security measures removed. Now, if this is not met, I'm afraid we shall have to reluctantly strike.
Seconded.
All those in favour?
Well, if it isn't Queen Bee. Come back to take over the hive, have you?
You better believe it.
You heard Mrs. Powell, Smith. No talking.
Don't worry, Mr. Fletcher. There are some people I wouldn't bother talking to.
Mouse, keep it down. The screws will be onto you.
Oh, shh. Not a cell. Quite as a mouse.
It's not nice to stare, but what's the matter? Have I grown another head or something?
If you had, it would be an improvement on the one you had before. I suppose you're responsible for the condition of Mouse, is he?
You mean her fit of the giggles? No, she's always had a great sense of humour, haven't you, Mouse?
She is as high as a kite. Whatever she's taken, I'll bet you brought it in here.
Yeah. Well, that's none of your business anyway.
Well, I'm making it my business.
Fair enough. Why don't you tell the screws then? Go on, lag at me in front of all the women.
No, I don't operate like that. And you know it.
You don't operate anyway, Smith. I'm top dog here now, and that's how the women want it. Sandy might even have fought for you, old crook. But she sort of let it slip through her fingers. It's lucky I was around to take up the reins.
I owed you one from the last time I saw you in Barnhurst. Now, I owe you two.
What are you doing?
Just changing tables, Mrs. Powell. My food was starting to go off.
Well, look at that. Queen Bee just buzzed off.
I've spoken to the union office and they've agreed to support us. They promise statewide action if it isn't resolved soon.
Well, that's official then. What is this clause about skeleton staff?
Well, the members realise how difficult it will be for the senior staff to cope alone, so we're prepared to allow 2 union members per shift to assist. We'd prefer not to call in the police at this moment to man the prison.
Oh, neither would I. Was that your idea?
Well, yes. I do feel that the women have seen enough of police uniforms in here for a while.
It's going to be very hard on them.
No harder than the current restrictions. And this action is for the women as well as for the officers.
Come in.
Be Smith, Mrs. Davidson. She doesn't want to be sent to the infirmary.
Well, I can't discuss it right now.
Oh, look, I'm sorry, Mrs. Davidson, but I'm jack of lying around on my back all day with nothing to do. I need something to occupy me. I thought we could talk about it.
Not now, Smith. I have something important to discuss with Mrs. Morris.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Morris. I didn't mean to interrupt, but look, there's plenty of light work I could do. Couldn't I just go down to the...
Oh, all right, Smith. I'll think about it. Now, wait outside for Mrs. Powell.
Thank you, Mrs. Davidson.
Close the door, Mrs. Powell. Has there been any sign of trouble?
She had a bit of a confrontation with Winter, but backed down. I don't think she's in any condition to cause trouble at the moment.
All right. Take her to the laundry, but she is not to work the press. Mrs. Powell, I'm afraid I will have to ask you to work back this evening. The officers are going on strike as from 3 o'clock this afternoon.
Right.
It can be averted, of course, if the department meets our demands.
Well, you know them as well as I do. I don't think there's much chance of that, do you?
Oh, that's a good drop. Can't beat a good drop of scotch to warm the cockles of your heart, can you?
No.
I haven't had a good drop of scotch since I was out Long Reach way. Oh, there's some nice pubs out there.
Yes, I've heard. Excuse me.
G'day, love.
G'day.
You mind if I sit down?
If you like.
My name's Lizzie. What's yours?
Errol.
Errol? Just like Errol Flynn. Oh, there was a hunk of a bloke if ever there was one.
Yeah? I never saw him.
Oh, you don't know what you missed. Oh, you're not going already, are you? I haven't even bought you a drink. Hey, Ernie, fetch me another scotch and get something here for Errol and put on me slate.
Right, Mrs. Birdsworth. That's very kind of you.
Oh, seeing we're drinking in the same bar, we might as well have a chat, eh?
Well, I'm sure there is room for negotiation, Mr. Douglas. Yes, certainly, I'll tell her. Fine. Goodbye. Well, he wasn't very pleased about that.
What did he say?
He's coming over as soon as possible to talk things over.
But there's nothing to talk about unless he's prepared to relax security.
Well, there must be room for compromise, surely.
It depends.
If they are willing to negotiate, surely it isn't necessary for the officers to walk out.
The department's notoriously slow on making decisions on important issues. Having no staff may just speed them up.
But it is so disruptive.
A strike isn't meant to be convenient.
Judy Bryant is back. Her case comes up for hearing before the parole board next week, and they want a pre-hearing report. What am I supposed to do about that?
Do you want me to prepare it?
Well, yes, but I suppose it's obviously out of the question now.
I'll see what I can do. We don't want the women to suffer because of the strike.
Thank you, Meg.
Look, it's nearly 3 o'clock. Do you want us to return the women to their cells?
Yes, could you arrange it?
You're back in your old cell, Brian.
Well, be it ever so humble.
Come on, get a move on. How come you letting us out early? Is it a public holiday or something? Oh, look who's here. Howard Barnhurst.
Still there.
There'll be no talking, just straight back to cells.
Hey, Jude.
Hi, love. How are you? You look fantastic.
Where did you
What's all this back to cells?
Oh, you know this joint with the last to hear anything.
Yeah, how's Lizzie?
She's been acquitted. She's out in the big wide
That's
world.
fantastic. We were very worried about it when we heard about it in Barnhurst. Listen, we got so much to talk about. How was your operation?
Come on, Brian, shut up, will you?
Listen, I'm glad to be able to talk to you. Buddy Mari's taken over from Sandy and she's filling this place full of dope. I need someone to help me get her off the throne.
Oh, honey, I'd love to help you, but the reason I'm back here is because my parole's coming up in a couple of weeks. I can't do anything to bugger that up.
Oh, bloody marvellous.
Listen, mate, surely you can either confirm or deny the report about the strike.
Try sign language, you might get through to it.
Here comes someone now.
Meg! What is all this about?
What, the strike, you mean?
Yes, of course I mean the strike. Why on earth do you want to go and stir up trouble as soon as you become union rep?
Colleen, I don't expect you to understand. But there's more to this job than the paycheck at the end of the week. Now, I made my position quite clear when I stood for union rep, and I have the support of the other officers.
And I suppose you leaked the news to the press.
Yes.
Listen, as a prison officer, you are not authorised to give statements concerning the prison.
No, but as a citizen, I have the right to speak about matters of public concern.
And it's not going to do the union nor the department any good.
Well, quite frankly, I don't care. If this strike helps to regain the right to treat the prisoners as humans, then I've succeeded in what I set out to do.
Can you give us any statement about the strike?
Are the officers after a flow-on from the wage increase?
I'm Mrs. Morris, the representative of the Officers' Union. This is not a strike about wages. We are solely concerned about the conditions inside the prison. Now, I wish to make the officers' demands quite clear, so I would appreciate it if you would report me accurately.
Fire away, Mrs. Morris.
Look, missus, I can't sit here drinking your shouts all the time.
Rubbish. Set us up again, will you, Annie?
It's not that I wouldn't shout you, it's just that, well, I'm a bit broke at the moment. See, I had to pay the doctor for me brother.
The one you told me about. The nutcase.
Oh, he's not a nutcase. He's just a bit simple. He had a bit of an accident, see, and, well, the old man couldn't pay the doctor's bills.
Is he out of work?
Yeah. And he likes a drink, or 3.
Don't we all?
Will this go on your account, Mrs. Birdsworth?
Yes, love, room 17.
It's not that the old man doesn't want to work. He just has a few too many in the pub at lunchtime, and then he forgets where he's working.